Obatina sobabamba. Obatina sobabamba. 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 Ayashisa lomzabalazo. Obatina sobabamba. Obatina sobabamba. Oh, sobabamba. Sobabamba. Ayashisa lomzabalazo. Senhor, join me, COSATU. Ayashisa uyangana sena. Ayashisa lomzabalazo. Senhor, join me, COSATU. Ayashisa uyangana sena. Ayashisa lomzabalazo. Viva COSATU, viva! 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 Viva msebenzi zomobatina! Viva ANC, viva! Viva the South African Communist Party, viva! Viva Sampo, viva! Comrade Deputy President, thank you very much. The National Office Bearers of COSATU of this current Congress of the 12th of COSATU. Members of the Central Executive Committee of COSATU, leaders of our various affiliates. I must be quick to say our former leaders who I will name by their names, because these are the leaders who stood with us when others were condemning us in public. These ones stood with us, worked with us through the difficult times we went through by not in any order. And I would want them to stand one by one as I introduce them to you, Central Committee. Baba Umakhumuli Dwaba, our first Vice President, former. Not the first Vice President there. First. Second, yes. Mshayelelizana. He comes from our affiliate. Uyazi la esuka khona iphakama izandla niyibona ukuthi usukaphi. Sakhaw. Baba uSidi Mfomathe, our first former DGS. Utatewetu, my sister, Mrs. Joyce Pekane, our former second deputy president. Our former treasurer, Baba Ronald Mfukeng. Thank you very much for making yourselves available We're expecting Comrade Jonkos, who's also invited to be here. We thank you. And I'm sure at the right time at the Congress next year, COSATU should be able to say thank you to all of you who stood with us and never chose to condemn us. You criticized us closely and worked with us to fix our problems. I will talk to that matter very shortly. To the leadership of the African National Congress, to the leadership of the South African Communist Party that is present here, the leadership of SANCO, these are our allies. For those comrades who may want to know, our dependable allies as COSATU who have stood with us through all the times. The delegation of the ANC Women's League, the ANC Youth League, the YCL, because there's the chairperson of the YCL somewhere around, I'm sure he's still in the PP meeting. I saw the secretary of the YCL who is in the PP, but the chair is here. We are also expecting other guests, and I'm sure at the right time the meeting will be taken through who are our guests who are here both international and locally. I should also say, because it is important to make that note, to the President of the World Federation of Trade Unions, President Michael Makwaiba. We want to salute you, shop stewards. The fighters, Lawama fighters, these fighters, the leaders of our unions, who are delegates here representing 1.7 million workers organized under the banner of COSATU, but yourselves representing in action and in any way other 13.72 million workers here in South Africa who are not belonging to any union. It's a matter that we'll deal with as we go on today and the days following. This is our 6th Central Committee, which we are coming in more united than we were in 2015 as we went to our 12th National Congress and our Special National Congress. A detailed report will reflect the work that we have done so far, and I can confidently say now as I stand, we are more united than we were at that particular time. And in thanking you, we are saying you stood up to defend your COSATU. We are coming here today in the middle of our term of office as the Central Executive Committee of the Federation to give a report on the work done so far, the achievements realized so far. And I will enumerate them just shortly. Before I do that, SACAU, in furthering the decision of the Central Executive Committee in its sitting a few days ago, which decision was, as the Central Executive Committee of COSATU and COSATU in general, we are not going to be sitting and folding our hands and watch whilst women and children in this country are killed, brutalized, molested, sometimes by the closest to them, uncles, fathers, partners, husbands, and in particular as men within COSATU who are saying no one should do these things in our men. We are real men. And as the Central Executive Committee, we have instructed our unions to intensify their programs against the abuse of women and children, against gender-based violence, against discrimination at the workplace, against sexual harassment at the workplace. And we have instructed all our unions to intensify those programs. And as the Central Executive Committee, we have said we must continuously receive feedback on how, on a day-to-day basis, we're executing that task. So, shop stewards, that is the task we are having at the workplace and at the localities where you are staying. Because we are not just shop stewards at work only. When we come home, we have to deal with these issues. And we condemn in the strongest possible terms the attack on women, lesbians, gays, disabled people. And we say as COSATU, we are an organization that cares, and we shall be closer to them and protect them, but not just to protect them. They must feel that they belong to a South Africa that is free, so they have the freedom to move anywhere they want at any time. There is no reason to rape somebody because you find him or her walking alone at 2 a.m. in the morning. The law of this country protects them. So that is the task going ahead. But in this period, we're talking about, comrade, and making an assessment, just to highlight but a few areas of our achievements. When you said at the 12th National Congress, let us go back to basics. Let us go and build the engines of our federation. Let us go and ensure that our unions are strong, visible, and servicing the members every day. The CEC instructed the national office bearers in the name of the collective, but we had to send our own there. The DGS, at our instruction and him agreeing to the instruction to take the task in COSATU's support of the workers who were going through the pain of losing, or rather of having an unfortunate situation of a sinkhole in the Lily mine. And we said, COSATU cares, go there on our behalf, work with the National Union of the Mine Workers, so that those workers feel that COSATU cares, NUM cares. Go and work with the leadership of the NUM to support those families. It's been a long journey, it's still a long journey. But we can confidently say today, Some of the results of that are beginning to show up. Those families whose members are still trapped underground have received at least the first thing in support, a small amount of money from government. A small, because we needed to do more, must do more. Each of those families have been supported by a 200,000 rands, just to be able to do, because those people who were working, buying them groceries, at least something can be able to take them through. But each of the 75 workers were also injured there. Again, a small thing is being given to them. And we want to thank the National Union of the Mine Workers, Bab Matosa. Now we know that there is an investigation that is going on, and as COSATU we shall be continuing to look into that. We can further report to yourselves that in the same province, in Mpumalanga, 3,000 workers who are employed by a very, very rogue person who calls himself a farmer, employed there. They chose a COSATU union at the time to join that union, following the law. But that employer of Umbaba dismissed those workers. They were belonging to a union that I will not name it now, because we are not in any business of condemning or rather of talking ill about others. But we're making a point that they were expelled, but unfortunately, that union, which was supposed to be standing with them through that time, could not. COSATU came in. That fight is on. We are spending your money to ensure that those workers are able to return back to work at some point. Those are the farm workers, very vulnerable. We are a fighting federation, comrades. And when we are united, no one will ever stand on our way. And that is what we have been able to demonstrate thus far. COSATU unions have stood through thick and thin. There is a research report by the Department of Labor that says COSATU unions, counting amongst them the NUM, Nehau, SATU, the teachers, displayed a share of working days spent on a strike, causing the employer to lose almost 10% of that by the struggles that we have been waging. And again, Tate Matosa, without singling you out as NUM, NUM was ranked the top at 15.1% in 2015, having taken up workers' issues. It's not your victory, it's all our victory. You wouldn't do it without being in COSATU. Indeed, just this year alone, COSATU unions demonstrated yet again what unity means. Dinosa, Nehau stood together, marched together. Man no more ngeke nibashayele izandla. to challenge the employer. So I will name, but you can be bored, because I want to touch on the other critical issues here. But the point I'm making here is that when we closed the 12th National Congress, we said we have closed a chapter and we are opening a new chapter. It is the report that we are giving you. You have led the struggle for the implementation of the National Health Insurance. Through your struggles, the NHI today is being piloted in some provinces. Part of this has included, listen to this one carefully, comrades, screening of 3.2 million learners in quintiles 1 to 5, and 15% of those learners were found to be having a challenge of some preventable ailments which were making it impossible for them to learn effectively in class because of hearing defects and the ability to see for others. Because singahlala la sicabanga siyabona sibona uzobona mhlu ufaka ibuku yedokotela wakutesta amehlo ubona ukuthi ubuthi uyabona kanti awuboni ukuthi awuboni. $3.2 million learners screened under our program NHI and has been able to identify and assist those learners. Cervical vaccine is being provided for girls in the education sector as part of the NHI program. And I think these campaigns, because it is possible to close the doors of learning even when you are able to be in class because of your individual personal disability at that point, which could have been easily picked if systems were put in place. So for us as COSATU, the implementation of the NHI, which will allow our country to have the capacity to confront the new challenge of TB, which has become a new #1 killer in our society, because TB has killed more people than Ebola has killed. The fact of the matter is that the medical aids are not able, or rather they are unsustainable because they are about profit making only. Maungenai medical aid, you end up not getting and accessing the necessary facilities that you are supposed to have. So when we encourage our minister, Aaron Mtswaledi, to do more, it's because we believe, and COSATU in particular has been able to say, we think the passion combined with the energy you have, it is possible that our government in our time will realize the national health insurance system in South Africa. So we want to acknowledge those gains thus far achieved. We have a meeting with the minister after the central committee so that we are able to share notes and be able to say, where are we with COSATU's resolve is, we do not want to rely on the triple Ps to implement the NHI. We do not want a multiplier system for the payments or the funding of the NHI. So we'll be having those discussions so that we are able to work together. We want to encourage Minister Mtswaledi to run with us and run faster on this one, because the term of this current administration ends in 2019, we want to be able to see how much progress we would have then made on the issue of the NHI. We do not want an NHI that will result in people paying for it through a VAT. We don't want that. Because if you do that, you are exonerating the rich, and it is the poor who then pays for the NHI instead of the rich having to pay for the NHI. It is yourselves through your struggles, comrades, that the Unemployment Insurance Act has now been signed into law. It is coming with progressive changes, which include that the UIF is increased in terms of the benefits, the scope is being increased, and the time of claiming from 8 months now to 12 months, you can still be claiming your unemployment insurance fund. That is amounting to 365 days, that's a year. You are unemployed for that year, you have been working, you can still go and claim your unemployment from the fund. It covers workers who lost hours due to reduced time at work. It covers a range of other issues, including that workers on maternity leave will also benefit now up to 66% of their normal salary when they are on maternity leave. Maternity leave, which is extended even, that right is even extended to those women who are befallen by an unfortunate situation of a miscarriage during the period of being at the maternity leave. So it doesn't matter, you lost the baby or the pregnancy has been terminated, you will claim as if you have been there full time. Maybe you will not clap hands kakhulu because you're thinking, it is government doing it for us. No. It is you working with your government to ensure that this is realized. Actually, it's you contributing. So you must take credit where it is due. You stood and said, no one must touch our retirement funds. No one must touch our pensions. When government was standing up to want to change the law so that they would be able to only give us, from the private sector in particular, just 1/3 of our provident fund. You stood up and you said, no, not in our names. But that struggle continues because we could not move on that matter. We just pushed it back and it is remaining there. It is supposed to come to Parliament, it's supposed to go to NEDLAC. But the past 2 years of confusion in this country has also casualized or brought to be a victim that particular debate. But as COSATU we still say, and we're standing firm to say, Hulumen, you dare touch our monies as a mali without us. So that matter is still there. It is through your struggles, comrades, under the banner of COSATU, which has allowed you or made you to secure a victory recently. And I can spend a bit of time on this matter because there's been great confusion. People saying, is COSATU now changing? Is COSATU signing or not signing? You know, there is no other federation in this country that has championed a campaign for a legislated national minimum wage in South Africa before it was even negotiated here and until recently, where there is an agreement, except this federation, COSATU. Let us set the record straight, because that matter has been very, very important for COSATU. Actually, COSATU led that matter. You'll remember that we went to a collective bargaining conference, Prataika, in 2012, in 2013, and resolved that we will ensure that here in South Africa, the Freedom Charter aspiration of a national minimum wage, which aims to protect those who are vulnerable at the lower end of the economy, must be legislated here in South Africa. We went to do our own research before we went into negotiations, and it proved that it does make a difference. We can deal with the amount later, because the current amount on the table forces us to carry on to campaign for a significant national minimum wage in this country. But the start is there, the benchmark is there. So we negotiated, of course, with everybody that was involved, government under the leadership of the Deputy President, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. We led these negotiations, business was involved. I won't take you into any details what people were saying about this matter and what amounts they were talking about compared to what COSATU was putting on the table. Fact of the matter is that right now, an agreement says, come May 2018, here in South Africa, the law kicks in and the workers, 47% of them, who would ordinarily not benefit from this, will be getting something that will say there's an improvement, at least on their income. We have an agreement on the table which clearly says we should be able to review this on a number of times so that it is meaningful for the workers. 3.5 and 3.9 wona khona insizwa lamazi yothenga igrocer zidonate ngayo le 3,000 kube imali encane. But for the worker who has been getting 1,800, it's important. It's important we have researched and we are getting the feedback that workers are saying not enough, but we are happy, carry on the fight, and we are carrying on that fight to achieve a national minimum wage in South Africa that is able to protect the most vulnerable of the workers in this country. We salute you, comrades, for having survived the storm, through reaching to one another, engaging, being frank to one another about difficulties. We are not yet where we want ourselves to be, yet. But because of that, today, here in this Central Committee, we adopted credentials in less than 10 minutes. Is that an achievement? Today, the Central Committee was able to adopt the agenda in less than 5 minutes. On behalf of the leadership, the Central Executive Committee, want to say thank you, comrades, to all of you for having been able to take us this far. Let me just tackle this matter, comrades.